Hi, welcome to The Last Shift. I'm Tara Jean. This is Rob Lightcar, and today we'll be giving our review on the NHL trades from yesterday's deadline.
We?
Well, the royal we. So, Rob, which teams do you think made the best moves yesterday to benefit the hockey club?
Okay, my favorite moves were, first of all, with Boston. I love that they picked up Yager. Some might look at this as like a consolation prize for not getting a Ginla the other day, but I honestly feel like maybe this was the best fit for them, and even better than a Ginla, because they're already a tough team. A Ginla is going to help them with the scoring issues that they're having. You know, it's going to help on the power play. I really think that's a solid move to help Boston. Another one of the moves I really liked was the Vancouver Canucks getting Derek Roy. Obviously, they really lacking at center. After Henrik Sedin, they pretty much had nobody this year, with Ryan Kesler missing nearly the entire season. So he's going to really help. He's going to be able to jump into that number 2, number 3 center spot right away. Help on their power play's been just abysmal. So he's going to be a big booster. But honestly, like for the Canucks, maybe their best moves or their best acquisitions are going to be just getting guys healthy. Ryan Kesler coming back is probably going to be one of the biggest, deadline moves that you can have. They've been missing him dearly all year. They're going to get Dale Weiss back, so some toughness on the fourth line. Mason Raymond had some ailments. He's going to be coming back. If they can piece together solid top 3 lines, I think they'll be just fine. And it's too bad they couldn't have made a move for Luongo for a winger or scorer, but
I'm glad he stayed.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be happy if they use both goaltenders in the playoffs and they go a few rounds. I think they're gonna be happy that he stuck around. Minnesota Wild. Adding Jason Palmaville was a really nice move. I think that if he can find some chemistry on the second line with Danny Heatley, that could be a really nice compliment there for Minnesota. They're obviously battling with Vancouver for the division, so I think that a move like that's going to help them. And then finally, probably Columbus Blue Jackets. They made a really nice pickup. They got Marian Gaborik. Obviously, Columbus has been playing great and getting points. And, Bobrovsky's been keeping them in games, but they've been lacking like a major scoring punch. And if they let Gaborik just go crazy, go wild, let him loose and just do what he does and as breakout and score goals, they're going to have a really good, top line scoring threat there that they really need. And maybe they can start turning some of those like single point, overtime losses into some 2-point victories and, squeak into the playoffs. I don't know how deep they can go in the playoffs, but if the Gaborik move gets them to the playoffs, I think it's a win for them big time.
Well, those are the good ones, but which teams were you not impressed with yesterday?
Well, obviously, probably the biggest failure of this past week and all the trade deadline, madness and moves was got to be Calgary Flames and Jay Feaster. I mean, this guy's been a nightmare from weeks ago when he failed with the Ryan O'Reilly debacle with Colorado, and now like just fumbling with the Jerome McGinley and Jay Bouwmeester trades. I mean, just look at what Darcy Regier got from St. Louis from Minnesota for Jason Palmaville. I mean, he got 2 like grade A prospects, a first-round pick, a second-round pick. If you compare that to what Jay Feaster got for Bouwmeester and Iginla, I think Darcy Regier did better just for one player. I mean, it's just been a total nightmare. I think Jay Feaster would be lucky if he's got a job in the NHL next year. He's been that's just been a failure. Another team is Detroit Red Wings. They were pretty much non-existent. I know they made plays for Yager and Bouwmeester that didn't work out, but at the end of the day, they're the same team going in, and they're just like kind of in that middle pack, almost a bubble team for the playoffs even. So I see them as like maybe missing the playoffs, and if they do make it in the bottom 8, getting bounced in the first round. So I don't know. Were they happy just to stand pat? I doubt it, but that's the reality of the Detroit Red Wings team. They obviously have a lot of picks coming up, so maybe they're kind of in a sort of retooling, rebuilding mode these next few years, but we'll see how that works out. Toronto, they're going to make the playoffs for the first time in like 7-8 seasons since the last lockout. And, they have all this chemistry scoring right now. Their top lines are all playing really well together since they got Lupul back. Kadri's obviously having a great year. They're a legitimate scoring threat every single night on multiple lines, which is great. Tons of chemistry there. They did add Ryan O'Byrne, so it sounds like I'm, why am I putting them in the worst slot? But they didn't change anything with their goaltending. And I think with a team that's showing as much promise as they are right now, to go into the playoffs with James Reimer and Ben Scrivens as your options in net, it's just like, it's a really unfortunate, because if they start with James Reimer and he fumbles and they get behind in a series and now you're going to Ben Scrivens, you're out. You're done. You're done in that series. And if they get bumped, in the first round because of goaltending, and you look at, like, today they reported that they turned down an offer to get Luongo for 2 second-round picks and Ben Scrivens. And you're saying you're not going to make that trade to get Luongo on your team and go into the playoffs with Luongo and James Reimer for 2 second-round picks? Like, I don't know. I just don't understand how they didn't make that trade, make that move, because I think that's their softest area of their team is with goaltending, and it could hurt them. And another one that kind of surprised me maybe a little bit is Edmonton. They're playing with so much confidence right now. They've got, like, all guns firing, mm-hmm. and even Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is playing well now. Taylor Hall is playing like possessed. Like, this guy's is really proving to be like a great power forward in the NHL. This young team's scoring a lot of goals. Dubnyk's playing okay, average. He's keeping them in games, but they're scoring so much that they've been winning games recently. They might squeak into the playoffs as well, but are they going to be able to contend with a Chicago or an Anaheim? Probably not. So maybe they just realize that they're going to just try to see what happens, get in the playoffs, and just kind of get that experience for their young guys. But it might not be very much experience, because if these guys make the playoffs and they play in Anaheim or Chicago, it might be a quick series. So I'm just surprised that Edmonton didn't do a little bit more. The Flyers did nothing. I think that they've pretty much conceded that their season is over. Unless they go on, barring an 8-game winning streak or something here at the end, I don't see how they make the playoffs. So that's probably why they were pretty quiet at the deadline day as well. So those are my kind of disappointing teams.
Well, was there any that stood out to you that you especially didn't like or maybe didn't understand?
No, there's one trade that I actually kind of liked. Like, one thing when you're evaluating trades at the trade deadline, it's usually you got it's between a team that's making a push for a deep run in the playoffs, making a trade with a team that's kind of already out of it, and they're kind of moving on for the next. They're looking forward to the next season. But one trade that I think addressed needs in the now for both teams was the one between Ottawa Senators and Tampa Bay Lightning. They swapped Ben Bishop from Ottawa to Tampa for Corey Conacher and a 4th-round pick. And Corey Conacher is he's going to be a Calder Trophy candidate this year. He's having a great season he's a small player, and I think that Tampa Bay probably looked at him as we've got a Martin St. Louis here. We already have, we've got some smaller, high-skilled scoring wingers. Maybe he's expendable to improve our hockey club in an area where they've kind of been scrambling, and they've been trying to they've been playing the game of trying to find a starting goaltender, and they just haven't been able to find somebody that wants to just take the reins and run with it, and so Ben Bishop's proven to be a really solid backup. He filled in nicely for Ottawa when they were missing Craig Anderson, and now with him coming back, he was expendable for Ottawa. So I think it was a trade that works for both teams. If Ben Bishop proves that he can be a good, solid, starting goaltender in the NHL, Corey Conacher continues to be a good, young, skilled. Ottawa's going to go into the playoffs. I don't know when Jason Spezza is coming back, so they need as much scoring help as possible there. So I like that move for both teams.
Well, there you go. Those are the best and the worst of our picks, or Rob's picks. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. See you later.
Good night.